Hi, this is Dr. George Fraser, founder of the PowerNetworking Conference. Coming up next is Dr. Shirley Clark, and she'll be talking about think like a millionaire, be a millionaire. This is going to be great. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shirley Clark, and this is your Hour of Power. I'm excited to be here to help you through some of your financial situation. First of all, I want to thank God for Dr. George Fraser and his incredible team, marketplace team, that he's been working with to bring this webinar to you. Dr. Fraser has a heart for people and a heart to see you change in your situation, whether it's social, economical, whatever it is that you need change for. But today, I'm here to help you through your financial situation. I have been working with people for years now, but even more so in the last 5 years to help people break through financially. And so today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to become a millionaire. It's how to think like a millionaire and to be a millionaire. I'm so excited to bring this webinar to you to share with you what you're going to need to do to get to your next. So many people are stuck. And so today, I am your advocate for change. I am your destiny and wealth coach. So don't go nowhere. Just stay where you are. I'm going to shift you and cajole you into your change. Now, listen, I need you to understand that you can change. Sometimes people say, well, you know, I tried this, but I'm telling you, if you learn how to think like a millionaire, you can be a millionaire. How can I say that? Because about 7 years ago, I'm telling you, 7 years ago, I found myself, like I said, we wanted the American dream. My husband and I, we had the American dream. But you know what we found out? The American dream was a nightmare. I looked at everything. Our finances were jacked up. We had 80% of consumer debt. We had a son, a daughter. I mean, we had the car, like you said, the dog almost, but we didn't have a dog. The car, the home. But you know what the American dream is? It's a debt dream. And now I've come to tell you, just 7 years later, God has blessed me now to a point where I have a business, where I was always in business, but it's prospering now. And coming into 2016, that 90% of all my clients now are multimillionaires. I hope I got your attention because you need to understand. I know some people say, well, you always had it. No. Let me clear up right off the bat. Let me help you out. I have not always had it. I love to tell my story because some people think, well, you got this going on, Dr. Clark. You got this going on, but let's help you out. I grew up in gross poverty. I tell people if all of our utilities were on at the same time, we were blessed. Some days my mom had to make a decision whether to have the water on. Do we need more water versus the lights? And so I grew up in we were probably one step away from being homeless. My mother and father, they married when they were 16 years old. And so I tell you, poverty was just my companion. And so I grew up not knowing what it was to have things. I look at people today that grew up, they had a silver spoon in their mouth, and how they take it for granted. But I'm telling you today, I'm here to be your advocate for your change. No matter whether you started out in the middle of the road, you had stuff or didn't have. I'm here to tell you that you can make it regardless. What I'm going to teach you today is not the basic stuff that you've heard about finance. I'm telling you, I read all them same little personal finance books all my life and still ended up in $80,000 worth of debt. And I also need to let you know that I never made over $23,000 in corporate America. But with God and with this new strategy that I have birthed out in my life, I need you to stay with me. Listen, I made that in 6 weeks. I hope I have your attention because what I want you to know is this, I'm talking different. I'm not going the same route. Many people go the same route, teaching that same stuff. You go to school, you do this, get a good job. I think you know now that you can go to school, get a good job, and still come out broke. See, you're never going to be wealthy just going the same way. doing the same, how you say, the same model, the paradigm, the old way. So today I'm going to challenge you in a new way of getting your wealth. And I need you to stay with me because, see, well, actually, I love what Myron Golden says, that rich people educate themselves, poor people entertain themselves. And I like to say, which one are you? Because you've got to make a decision today whether you're going to stay and listen to me. Because you might be saying, oh, I'm getting ready to go to the movies. But I'm telling you, if your money is funny, and your change is strange, you might want to stay with me for the next 50 minutes or so I can help your money from being funny and your change from being strange. So I want to help you. I want to be your advocate for this next 50 minutes or so. I want you to know that I do have a new strategy. I know it might not be for everyone, but I can help you open up the vortex over your life, the wealth vortex over your life. And I do it all the time. I take people through it and help people get through it because this system of this world is not for you. And so stay with me for the next 45, 50 minutes and let me walk you through the process of how I attracted wealth into my life, how I got the things that I have. And so I want you to go ahead. If you need to, call somebody, text somebody, Facebook them, tweet them and say, this woman claimed already that she has a new strategy. Yes, I do, and I want to take you through it. So let me walk you through it. First of all, I want you to understand, I believe everybody deals with this, is that you're talking about, when I talk about wealth, I know everybody has to deal with from the very beginning your belief system. And the key to a lot of this is that you need to know that probably some of you already walked out of the room, but I'm hoping you'll come back and give me a chance. But if not, I know that some of you are mad right now that I'm talking about money. And it's amazing to me that a lot of the people who are mad are the people who are broke. And so I'm trying to stop you from being broke. I'm trying to put some money in your bank account. And the reason you're mad is because of your belief system, what somebody told you. They told you how you were raised and what people, even you might have dealt with people, perhaps they have misappropriated money. Maybe your family, your mom or your dad, every time you asked them for money, they never gave it to you. So you had a bad taste in your mouth about money. And so you think, well, you know, some people believe wealth, they believe in everybody else's wealth than their own wealth. I celebrate everybody else's wealth, but I don't believe that I'm supposed to be wealthy. And I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. And the day that you decide to be wealthy, the day that you decided you want to change your situation, I hope today will be it. Because I'm going to tell you that I have strategies that have been proven. Because when I decided to change my life, began to do something different. See, how do you say, what is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. I read all the personal finance books. I did all the stuff that people told me to do. And I still ended up broke. But 7 years ago, I did something different. And the next thing I knew that in 4 years, my income increased 3 times. Now my income has increased 7 times. And I said already that most of my clients, 90% are multimillionaires. And so even just yesterday, God brought 2 more millionaires, multimillionaires into my life as clients. So what I'm trying to say, it was my belief system. I had to shift out of that poverty mentality. We've heard it before. You know, some people are broke and some people are, you know, poor and broke. I was poor and broke. See, when you've been brought up in poverty, you don't really know what you don't know. And you certainly have never experienced the good of the land. And so I recognize that people like our president who's running for president right now, Donald Trump, there were times in his life I remember hearing about him filing for bankruptcy. But Donald Trump, he was broke, but he was never poor. And so I love the fact that, see, just because you broke doesn't identify you in that realm of being poor. But see, I was poor and broke. And some of you are probably like where I was years ago. I was poor and broke. So, but today I'm no longer broke or poor. And so, but some people today, they grew up around money, they lost it, but they're broke. And so I want to be an advocate for your change. You can make it. You can be wealthy if you want to. I want you to know that you can change your situation, but you first got to begin to get ready. Deal with your belief system. I need you to understand that if someone's telling you you cannot be rich, it's because, or your mind, I say, your mind is telling you that. And I just wrote a book called Bless. I just released it in January, How to Attract Wealth into Your Life. And that's what the subtitle of this PowerPoint today, this webinar I'm sharing with you, it's a subtitle, How to Attract Wealth into Your Life. Because so many of us, we see people but with wealth. We see them with the cars, all of that stuff that we identify as wealth. But I'm talking about not just having the cars and the home, the clothes, the rings, the jewelry. I'm talking about having the money in your bank account. So I want you to understand that you can shift, but you got to make a decision. Let's go on to the next slide. I want you to understand, I'm going to skip that, is that first thing, that after you deal with your belief system, guess what? I learned this as I got ready to shift. I took about, like I said, I changed the system, and I'll tell you at the end what the system was. But I read in a book that says that right away, I got some books that I want to read that was written by millionaires, and I'm going to deal with that in just a moment. But the first thing it said in one of the books is that the day that you decide to be wealthy, it's the day that the universe will come in alignment with you being wealthy. I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the reason I am broke is because I never made a decision to be wealthy? I thought for a moment, I said, okay, wait a minute. So let me read this again. I read it again. It says, the moment you decide to be wealthy, the universe will begin to come in alignment to make me wealthy. And it said it'll make you become a millionaire if you want to be a millionaire. I said, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my whole house on the arrest. Since I want to be a millionaire, I put signs up all over my house. I put it on my kids' mirror in their bathroom. I said, listen, you want some stuff? So you need to say, Mommy, every time you go in the bathroom, you see this sign that says, Mommy is going to be a millionaire. Then I need you to speak that every time you walk in your bathroom, say, Mommy is going to be a millionaire. I got crazy. Guess what? I put it on my husband's side in the mirror in the bathroom. My wife is going to be a millionaire. Then I put it on my side. I'm going to be a millionaire. Then I put it on my refrigerator. I'm going to be a millionaire. I put it so much that my husband couldn't even see in the mirror. I put my whole house on the arrest. You know why? Because it says the day that I decide. It didn't have nothing to do with whether I'm going to get my buddy down the street, my girlfriend, or my financial advisor, my mom and my sister. So the reason I'm broke is because I never made a decision to be broke. And that's the problem with most of us. We never make a decision. So you've got to make a decision, and you got to stand on your decision. That now that I've heard this, I'm going to make a decision to be wealthy. Don't get off of it. I put signs in my office, everywhere, that I was going to be a millionaire. What's going to happen is you need to know that things are working. The energy, I have just released energy, a wealth energy, a frequency over my life that's getting ready to generate wealth. See, you got to understand, you're not going to see it. You just got to know it's happened, because it says the thing that I need you to understand, the person I got that from was someone that made $143 million. So I didn't need nobody to tell me whether this is true or not, because I heard it from someone that made $143 million. So I knew that sooner I began to activate this word, this decision, things are getting ready to change. I knew in my heart then that something was getting ready to change. And then after I made the decision, I knew that I had to do the next thing is I had to think like a millionaire. That is point 3. I'm going to deal with 8 points about this, because, see, I'm talking about how to attract wealth in your life. What I'm teaching you is easy, but it's one of the hardest things you ever going to have to do. You know why? It's going to require discipline. But don't worry. I'm your advocate for your change, and I'm going to help you. It says, you got to think like a millionaire. I said, wait a minute. How do I think like a millionaire? I thought about my life. I thought about everything. I said, how can I get the mind of a millionaire? And just like I was reading that book, I thought, well, millionaires been writing books for a long time. Now, I'm also, not only am I am a wealth and destiny coach, I'm also a minister of the gospel. And one of the things I noticed in the church that we have been confessing many of the things in the Bible about our wealth streams, and that God wants us blessed, and we are blessed and not cursed, and He'll give us God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And we've decreed and declared. We've done a lot of things, but what I saw is that we were confessing but never possessing. I've been a Christian now over 35 years. And I believe that God, if the word of God is really true, then we need to see some manifestation. So I thought to myself, what are some of the tools that I have, resource tools in my house? Who is speaking into my life? I recognize that some of the people, some of the books that I had on wealth, I heard people talk on wealth, they was really talking from head knowledge or from just reading about it in the Bible or any other tools. They're teaching, but they had no real experience. And I've learned now that wealth moves on a wealth frequency. So what I decided to do, I made a decision. I was no longer going to read books. And please forgive me, and I hope I'm not here to offend anyone, by anyone that was broke. I decided that I wanted wealth in my life, so I got to be tutored by people that had wealth. So I only read books by multimillionaires. I only read books by leaders that knew Christ, because I wanted to become what I'll talk about later. I wanted to be able to give the way like Oprah Winfrey and all these other people are giving. I wanted large money so I can sow and give into missions. I can write the full check, the $15,000, the $10,000, the $20,000. I can give $1 million to my church. And so not only did I want the wealth, I also wanted the spiritual insight from people who were in my community of faith. So I sought out books by leaders that actually walked in that, so that I can not only have the teaching, but I'll have the spirit of wealth fall on my life, that it would come from a pure spirit, a spirit that had been sown and given into kingdom principles. See, Deuteronomy 8:18 tell us in the Bible that God will give us power to get wealth. And so He will show us ways that we can get wealth. And so what I did, I read only books by multimillionaires. Only those people that had the money. And this is a problem with most people. We read the wrong material. I said it earlier, rich people educate themselves, poor people entertain themselves. Now, what did I do? I filled my mind for 4 years. I only read books. I need you to hear me. I only read books by multi-millionaires. See, don't never be tutored by people that have never made it or where you're trying to go. And so I deliberately assigned certain books in my life that I was going to feed on it. I read on it. I put my ear gate, my eye gate, I put like a homeland security on my entire body. I shift everything in my life to mirror what I wanted. See, a lot of time we complain, but we don't want to change. And so what I did, I began to read. Let me help you out even more, that'll help you understand who I am. I said at my high school graduation, because I grew up in gross poverty, I sat at my high school graduation with my mama on one side, my sister on the other side. We're sitting there. I didn't know whether they were going to call my name. You know why? Because I had to pass the second semester of English. I failed the first semester. I had to pass the second semester. Do you hear me? In order to graduate. I could not write a complete sentence when I graduated from high school. All I could write was a run-on sentence. So you can't talk to me you can't say it won't work. I sat there too embarrassed. I was tormented. I was too embarrassed to tell my mom and my sister they might not call my name. But I sat there and they called my name. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. That day they called my name. I never wanted to see my grade. I never wanted to see my failure. I never wanted to see what the teacher said about me. It's 38 years later when I tells the testimony in this new book that I just released called Blessed, How to Attract Wealth. My testimony is in there, how I sat there with torment, in my heart. It was the best of time or the worst of time. But God is able to restore. I want to let you know that I have written over 22 books now. I own a writer's agency. I just told you 90% of my clients are multimillionaires. I write for leaders. I ghostwrite. We do all kinds of things. I've written, we have magazines. We do all kinds of things. Press release. So I'm letting you know that I believe I have something for you. I believe that I would be not just a poster child, how you say, a hope for you, how we say, but I'm your advocate. I tell God, now that you've done this for me, I want to reach back and help everybody else. If you allow me, let me, that which you taught me on the floor, let me help somebody else. And what God did, he allowed me to work in the library for 13 years. And after about a few years in the library, God said to me, it was like an epitome. We had the light, the bulb go off and said, what do you think? Why all these books are being checked out, 20, 30,000 books at a time. There must be something in books. And all of a sudden, just something just hit. I began to check out 25 to 30 books at a time. Now I'm an advocate reader. I read all the time. I knew that if I were going to get wealth, I had to change what was in here. It says that in 5 years, you are, if you, depend on where you are, if you will start today, in 5 years from now, it will determine what you've done. If you read, I said, how many books you read. In 5 years, you could change in 5 years based on how many books you read, the CDs you read, the DVDs you watch, and the people you hang around. So I knew enough about that if I continue to press in, if I would change this, then my entire surrounding would change. I wanted wealth. That was not a time. This is what I want to help you out, because I know when you start doing something like this, you want to read everything else. Because money moves in frequency, and it's such a warfare for you to have it. I'm telling you, this is not a time to start reading other books on how to cook. If you're going to shift your money, you got to go at it. And I intensified it. I wanted this change to come so bad. I wouldn't read nothing during the years until my money changed. Only thing I read were books on wealth. And I only read books by multimillionaires. I need you to hear me, because you start going to school, you start doing all this stuff, international trading, all kinds of things you get involved with. Reading books on automotive and whatever. If you're getting ready to change your wealth, you're going to have to stay on this thing, because you got to change this. Because, see, the dominant thought in your mind would attract. You will be attracted to you. What I did, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but I spoke to my brain. I commanded my right side and my left side. I said this day that everything that's inside of my brain cells, I had to dislodge everything that would hinder my money. I commanded my right side and my left side, the faculties of my brain, to operate at its optimal level. I had to get rid of what the teacher said. They told us, you know it, if you ever gone to any school, university, they said that you operated out of one side of the brain more than the other. You're either autistic or you're analytical. Well, because I believe in the book of Genesis that God made me, I found out I didn't see that in the Bible. He said, I made you. God made me in his image. So it didn't say that I'm going to function out of one side than the other. So I commanded myself to operate at whatever level I needed to. If I need to be analytical at that moment, then I'm going to move in high analytical skills. If I need to be artistic, then I no longer gonna let the school teachers or anyone define me. See, you got to understand, sometimes your schooling has messed you up. I tell my people right away when I'm working with them that you're no longer subject to this world. You got to shift everything. Everything you learned in this world has already marked you and shifted you and made you to think that you're supposed to do. Everything, even the lending institutions, everything you think they were for you, they were not for you. All of the credit lines and everything you got, it wasn't really for you. It was for their benefit. All I'm just saying is learn. I say learn how they use you or how they work, and then you can better work the system. What you're trying to do is you got to shift from being a consumer to a producer. I learned early in this thing that I had to stop letting other people, and I said, I decided I was not going to make anybody else more richer than me. So what did I have to do? After I had to get through thinking right, I had to practice what the rich people do. It says that one millionaire I heard said that, listen, if it's a principle, it'll work every time. But if it's not a principle, it won't work. So you got to do what rich people do. They said, you know, if you're going to go to a club where rich people are, you can't be there talking about no job. See, poor people, that you value financial security instead of financial freedom. I wanted to create my own world. I didn't want nobody to determine how much money I can make. And so you got to practice the principles of wealthy people. See, you got to stop being a consumer and be a producer. I decided that every dime, every penny of mine, and what you got, I'm going to talk, it's so much of this overlap, but I'm trying to teach from a teacher standpoint. I'm trying not to jump ahead, but you got to understand that your money is a seed, and a seed is called to produce a harvest. A seed, you put it in the ground, it never grows up to be a seed, it grows to be a harvest. Money is the same way. I learned that I had to do what rich people do with money. See, poor people have jobs. Rich people own businesses. So I knew immediately I was on the right track. I had a company, I had a business. I had to do what rich people do. Not only did I have to do, I had to practice their principles. I had to think like them. And when things came up, I had to do something different. I had to think differently. When trouble came, I had to think differently. I remember reading about rich people saying that they don't make choices, they choose both. I know many people have been talking about that. But I found myself, soon after I read that, I saw my family, we went through a little crisis, financial situation, something of water broke outside in the backyard, and I was like, oh, you go back to the old way of thinking. How much? And my husband said it's going to be over $500 some. And I was thinking, oh, I was trying to get money for this. And I remember as I was walking into my bedroom, I remember what I had just read a few days ago. Rich people don't make a choice. I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to make a choice then. What we going to do then? Then I remembered, no. You got to practice the principles of rich people. You can't think no more like broke people. So I remember I went into the bedroom walking out, I said, oh, no. It says that rich people say, how can we do these things? How can I do both? How can we take care of that and still do what I need to do? And then when I shift my thinking into the principle of the wealthy people, rich people thinking, I left there and walked 5 minutes back to my computer, went to my email. There was an email there from my sister saying, Shirley, you know what? I'm going to send you a check for $200 and some for so-and-so and so-and-so. And I said, oh, this stuff works. See, because poor people make choices. I would say, I'm not going to be able to do that because I only got the money for that. You said you never look at your bank account to determine what you can do. As it is, you find it. So what you try to do is give your brain something to do. I love my coach. I have a billionaire coach now, and she coined the phrase global solutionist. And so what you got to do is stop making a decision based on what you have in the natural. You got to give your brain something to do. You got to give it it will give you solution. So when things come up, just about a week, about maybe 10 days ago, I needed just another. I didn't want to pull on my money that I had. I said, you know what? I need an opportunity came where I needed over $5,000 more dollars. And did I have it? Yeah. But I didn't want to use my money. I said, this is a new opportunity. So you know what? I'm going to do what I tell everybody else to do. I'm going to birth in what I need. And I need it to be birthed in this week. And I want you to know by Friday of that week, from Monday to Friday, I said, I'm going to intensify this thing. I'm going to read. I'm going to do some of the things that I'm getting ready to share with you. I did exactly what I told people to do. And I want you to know that I got my money. So I learned now, if I want things above what sometimes I just do that. I just say, I don't need to spend my money. If this is an opportunity that has availed itself to me, and it costs a certain amount, don't assume you just have to spend your money that you have. You can create wealth sometimes. You can tap into it, and that's what I've done. I've tapped into it, how to attract wealth into my life. And that's what I want to help you to do. I'm giving these principles like this so you can follow me. These are in my book, my new book, Blessed. I'm going to give you an opportunity at the end to go to my website, drshirleyclark.org. Go, you can, if you need to, if you like me, you multitask. You check out people while you're listening to it. Like me, I be watching videos and I be watching webinars and I see stuff. And I be saying, let me find out who these people are. Go ahead and find out who I am. Go check me out. I have a new book out right now called Bless, How to Attract Wealth. And I'm going through these points. And of course, I am not sharing everything with you in this time, this little 50 minutes with you or more with you. But I need you to understand that these points, I bring out even more in the book, how this stuff works. I go places and I end up, and next thing I know, all the wealthy people around me, never people really with jobs, all of a sudden everybody around me, because we attract people to us like who we are. Now, I'm going to go ahead and preface this. Please forgive me. So if you're attracting the wrong people around your life, perhaps it might be who you are. I'm going to go on because I've heard people say, well, everybody around me seem like people that's coming around me, they're this and that, they're broken, or they're this and that. And sometimes we say we gossip, people are gossipers around you. And I often challenge the people to look at themselves. Because the reality is we attract people like who we are. It's called the law of attraction. And so now everywhere I go, who comes around me? High profile people, millionaires, multimillionaires. I wanted to be mentored. This journey, when I started out, I wanted my shift about 7 years ago. One thing I wanted to be mentored by millionaires. Now, I had from a distance because my pastor was a multimillionaire. I have other pastors that were multimillionaires. And then I know another leader of mine, other spiritual moms and people I knew that had business, but I couldn't get to them every day. And so I said, God, I needed somebody around me. I needed to be able to touch them. I needed to be able to get them on the phone. I needed to be able to text them. And so what did I do, God? And I said, how can I be mentored by millionaires while I'm trying to make my million, while I'm trying to get up, I rise out of this debt zone that I'm in. And so that's how God's told me, said, millionaires have been writing books for years. So if you would read their books, then I will cause the millionaires to come into your life. And so right now, all of my coaches are multimillionaire, and I have a billionaire coach. See, this is what will happen with you. Why did that happen? Why did it happen to me? Because I changed what was up here. And then I started practicing the principles, what I read, and then I got surrounded by millionaires. It's so much I can say. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but let me go on because I need you to understand it's not enough. So many of you have read these books. You've read stuff you've been reading for years, but you never activate it. It will only work when you do it. I take people through a 90-day financial empowerment challenge. I'm going to talk about it more at the end, but I want you to know I learned a long time ago that I needed somebody like Shirley Clark. when I was coming through this. And so when God raised me up, I began to reach back. And so I help people. But I tell them what I'm getting ready to tell you is so easy. But it's going to be some of the hardest things that you will have to do because it requires you to be disciplined. I decided that I want to change so bad that I was not going to stop until I get my money. And I'm telling you, my life have changed because I chose to practice what I was reading. I even guarded the people, and I'm going to talk about that. But the next stage, step 5 of this, is the provoke divine intelligence. I don't care who you believe in. I know there are all types of people that will be watching this webinar, and you might believe in Buddha. You might believe, I don't know who you believe in. Maybe you're doing yoga, whatever, whoever. I need you to understand there is something about activating the power of prayer that will allow you to get quiet enough that you can hear your internal parts. You can soak and seek. And so what I did is I began to soak in the power, just in the presence of God. I began to put music on. I would get up between the hours of 2 to 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning and lay out because this world is a noisy place. I needed to see what was inside of me. I needed to hear. I needed to know about these multiple streams. I need you to understand that you was made and engineered to be great. And there's a seed of greatness that's inside of you, and you need to know how to activate that seed, but you got to hear it. You need to know where your web streams are. So I laid out in the floor and letting music soak into me. I would just soak Psalms by Julie True and all these wonderful soaking. You can get these playlists. I talk about it in my book, Pray and Grow Richer. And like I said, I'll share a little bit more at the end, but I talk about the Pray and Grow Richer book. After I did all of this, I wrote a book called Pray and Grow Richer. I went step by step of how I did what I did. And I laid out on the floor for about hours and hours and hours and hours of time. And when I learned how to do I learned how to do technical stuff on the floor. I heard, get up now. I'm going to show you how to do this. I never knew how to do website. I never did. My company, much of what I charge now, $10,000 plus, and sometimes $15,000 programs and package deals. Now we're moving to the $20,000 and $25,000 coaching packages and millionaire experiences because I got it off the floor. So when I got off the floor, every time I added another service that I heard how I can do something. See, some of us just need to know how to tap into it. And so it's so noisy during the day, and you got so much going on, your family, your job, your church duties. You need to be quiet. And I went on the floor specifically for my web stream. I need to be very clear about this. There in one of the books I read said, you never ask, it said most people are broke because they never ask the big question. I said, what is the big question? How can I create $1 million? And so I went on the floor asking, how can I create $1 million? Show me my web stream. Show me where my money is. And that's how in 4 years, I spent 80% out of home office. So I had the music soaking. I became pregnant with ideas. I could not get all the ideas out in one day. I literally shut myself off. 80% of my time was spent, I say, in that soaking realm. I birthing out ideas, changing package deals. Often, see, some of you let people tell you, listen, you don't know your worth. I found out, long as I was trying to give people deals and help people out, I was broke. I found out that I was a businesswoman. I was not no thrift store. I was like a Macy's. I was a Neiman Marcus. Come on, you got to know who you are. And so I recognized that I had gifts, I had services that mirrored wealth. After I got off the floor, I began my package deal chain. You tell people how to treat you. Long as I was charging $100, $200, $75, guess what? That's all I got. And that's why I was broke. But I tell you, as a woman of God, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, as a wealth coach, a destiny coach right now, I'm getting thousands. Listen, you need to understand. What I'm telling you is exactly what I did to get wealth and to attract wealth in my life. And so I began to command my brain. I began to listen to the different things that I can package, I can offer. I heard it on the floor, and then I got up and operated in it. And then I wasn't afraid to charge the price. You know why? I looked at my counterparts. I recognized that I was listen, my prices were so low anyway. And I said, you know what? I'm shifting today. I remember I got mad. I said, I'm tired of people just, taking advantage of what I'm doing. I have a self-writers agency, a publication. I help people publish books. I've republished over hundreds of books, hundreds of author books now. We have a big book and business expo. We help author, all types of things. We have a PR and marketing firm. I have a consulting and corporate coaching and consulting business. Have a leadership institute called Anointed for Business Leadership Institute. We have an event planning service now. I mean, we can go on at 6 or 7, but and then I preach the gospel. I travel. I am a best-selling author. I have readers audience, in Bahrain and Japan and Holland, London, all around the world. But there were strategies. God just opened up an office for me last year over in Holland. I'm getting ready to open up one in London. I'll be going over this year to London, having meetings there, have an office in Texas and an office in North Carolina. Come on, people. It is time that you need to know that. How did I start? The same way I'm telling you. I began to pray. I began to soak. I did all of those. I activated my multiple stream. One of the things I talk about in a book called The Midnight Cry, that about probably before that I decided to study up on dreams. I used to dream a lot. That's a part of prayer. I activated my dream cycle. I remember waking up. My mother was always a dreamer, and I always dreamed, and I began to study that Joseph got to the palace through a dream. He heard about his destiny in the dream in the Bible. And because I was dreaming, I began to study up on dreams in the Bible and just reading about dreams in general, but all over the internet, learning about dreams and vision, how you can hear things. And I began to do that. And I woke up one morning and I saw God visited me. And I'm not afraid to give God the glory because everybody else celebrate who they believe in. So I'm learning that I'd rather go to the top with him. I can trust him instead of man. And I woke up and he showed me about 5 of these entities in a dream. He said, you don't have a PR and marketing firm, but you have a huge global network. He said, your network could be your net worth. He said, and he showed me if you would start a PR and marketing firm, attach it outside of books, you're going to need people. He said, that's the problem. You've been producing books with author helping them self-publish, but then they come back to you and they needing PR and marketing. You got an incredible network. It's global. It's in other countries. You got a prayer group that's global. So you work with leaders and pastors, community, all over. He said, now you can market to those people. God, and as he said, the problem with you just never made it. You never put a value to it. And so he showed me 5 businesses. And I got up that morning, went to the computer, did a PowerPoint, got out of my spirit what I saw in the middle of the night. I saw 5 different entities of wealth, and I put it into a PowerPoint from 5 o'clock until 2:30 in the afternoon. And then I put a brochure together, flyer, and then from there, I began to activate all of those areas. And then there it was, money started coming in. My first one, I decided that I was going to stop dealing with broke Christians and people trying to give them a deal, and that's why I was broke. And this is what you need to get away. If you're going to be a business owner, you're going to be an entrepreneur, treat your business. Tell people how to treat you. Tell them you are a business, and then you do contracts. Treat your business as a business and not a hobby. And so I decided, I remember the day I said, you know what? From this day on, every deal I had was going to at least start at $500 and go up. And as soon as I told people how to treat me, as soon as I did that, the first person, and another thing I did, I said to myself, I'm tired of just, because I dealt a lot with church people. I said, I'm tired of dealing with church folks. I need enterprising people. The first person that called me was a former news reporter. Soon as I changed my mind, changed the value of who I was, and made a decision that I was worth more than what they was paying me. And see, I don't blame them, I blame me. Because I told people how to treat me. So I said, you know what, I'm going to tell them how to treat me. From now on, I'm only wanting enterprising people, business-minded people that know how to, not church folk. I want people that enterprising, understand price. They're going to pay for the services. And immediately, the first person I got when I shifted was a former news reporter for one of the TV stations. The next client I got, a woman that owned half a block down Dallas. Shirley, you say, well, you know, that's great. Would that work for anybody? Yeah, it would work for you. I need you to understand God has no respect to a person. I need you to understand my clients are not just African American. That woman that owned the block downtown, she was a Caucasian woman. I have Indian as my clients. I have people that speak different languages. That's why now we are translating books into 3 languages, into French and Spanish and Chinese. You see, you take the limit off of your life. No longer say, I can't do this. If I don't have it, I just tell them, give me a moment. Let me just give me a moment. Sometimes I don't, because you're dealing, see, you need to be kingdom. I don't have to tell people I'm going to go home and pray about it. You're the one that's really know who your convictions are. I just tell people, let me get back with you. And what I do, I go and soak and seek and they pull on that global solution. This person needs this. How can I make it happen? I need a networking person. I need a resource person. Soon as I provoke divine intelligence, I have never been without a connection. Sometimes I'll need somebody in. Listen, this is so deep. See, I need you to understand, you got to get rid of this unbelief. You got to get rid of putting these limits on yourself. I need it because I'm going over to London, hosted my first Pray and Grow Richer Marketplace Press Summit over there in April. In January, I was in my house, and I've got some counterparts already over there. But I said, I need to meet everybody I need to meet. I'll never forget it, walking in my kitchen. I need to meet everybody in London that need to be a part of who what I need to be doing right now. I need to meet them right now. I need to connect with people right now. In 2 days, a bishop called me from London. And I said to God, I'm going over to do the book fair too. And I need somebody that know how to take me to the book fair. I don't know. I can't be on nobody else's time. I just need you to do all of that for me. I need all my connections now in London. 2 days, a bishop called from London, said, I'm calling from London. I said, what? He said, I'm calling from London, and we were calling about a book deal. Somebody else had told him about me in London. Do you think that's a coincidence? I didn't even know the man. Then I said, let me tell you what happened. I declared I need to meet all my counterparts that I need to do what I need to do. And I need a place. I need my counterparts supposed to have been doing that. Turned out this man offered his building. And he said, and I said, I need to get to the book fair too over in London. He said, I go every year. I will take you, Dr. Clark, to the book fair. Do you think that's a coincidence? You got to release divine intelligence to get what you want. So what? You don't have it. That doesn't mean you can get that global solution in your mind. Whatever it is, it's an answer out there. Just release it. Don't tell I can't get this. I need this. So what? There's somebody out here that has every resource that you would need. And so you just got to have faith to believe that when you pull on divine intelligence, you pull on God, you pray, so it will come into your equation. That's what you've been doing. You've been thinking like a millionaire. You've been doing what the principle, it has to come. I can go on and on. But this right here, the next one, point 6, associate with wealthy people. Listen, we are defined by the people we hang with, but we also are defined by the people we don't hang with. My former pastor, late Bishop Mac Timberlake Jr., told us years ago, he said, show me your 3 closest friends, and I'll show you your destiny. One thing I learned is that everybody's not made to go up with you. Not everybody's going to understand when you're believing for your wealth stream. And I know you want to take people with you. And I remember hearing people like Kirk Franklin talks about how he wanted to take his family, and he did. He found out that after a while you could no longer do that. It wasn't so much he didn't want to take them with him. It was just he had moved in a certain realm, a certain place that everybody's just not made to go with you. I know you love your family members. I know you love your mommy, your daddy. I know you love your girlfriends. But let me help you out. When you start moving in places like wealth and having things, everybody just can't go with you. There's a saying that says, show me, if you hang with 5 broke people, you will be the 6th one. But if you hang with 5 rich people, you will be the 6th one. I need you to understand, it's really serious that you make a decision who you're going to hang with. I love my friend Ken Brown, we're working with him now, and he was the youngest African-American to own 2 McDonald's franchises. He said that we really need to go through our phone and decide whether we're going to keep and delete people. Because, see, when you're trying to get wealthy, these people will speak things that doesn't line up with what you believe in, your belief system, especially when you have changed. Believe it or not, when you change your belief system or what's in your brain and start working out these principles anyway, your friends are going to change anyway. But what happens sometimes, we'll try to pull on those friends. We'll say, come on, go with me. And you'll take them into places they're not ready. And they say, like, when you go to a club, maybe where rich people are and wealthy people, wealthy people talk about how they're going to, the next level, their job, what their business that they're going to own. You standing there talking about, I need a job. So you kind of identify who you are. You tell people, you're really not in their realm. You shouldn't even be in the conversation. And so you have to be very careful. I've had to learn this even dealing with leaders in the community. Years ago, I've worked with just an incredible sovereignty, a move on my life and grace to be able to work with some of my former governor in Texas, to be in some of the private meetings with him and be invited into rooms with only 50 people. And I'm the only people of color in the room from the state of Texas. And, I'm sitting in the room with great leaders. And so I'm looking, saying, how I got here, but then I'm bringing, I can bring somebody with me. I remember bringing somebody with me. I said, can you just ride with me? And I asked them if I could bring someone with me, and they said yes. But I'm thinking, well, years ago, their parents had greater things than us, had wealth. But the reality was I would have been moving in that realm, but that person had not. Around that all the time, I'd already been probably years going into events with the governor. So I'm assuming just because they grew up in having like a middle-class family, they was accustomed to that environment. And lo and behold, I recognized after they did something out of order during the meeting, I was taken so far back. I could not believe. I'm thinking, you should have knew, you should not have been doing that. But the fact of the matter, everybody, you have to make sure people are ready to get in, be in the room with greatness. Because the reality is that when you're diligent, it says in the Bible, it will bring you before great men. So I knew that I was always called to be with presidents. I've always called to be with greatness. I just needed the manifestation in my life, and I knew that I needed to shift it now. I decided I wanted to create my own world. I no longer wanted other people to create my world, because see, when you let other people create your world, they will always create it too small. And so I decided I'm getting ready to shift my life. I don't need nobody else to tell me how to shift my life. Some of us allow even our spouse to shift our lives or tell us what we can and cannot do, because you letting other people tell you. You got to make a decision today that this is your day to change your wealthy place, to change you in from being poor to being rich. And so I decided that I'm going to associate more with wealthy people. Now, at this point now in my life, since that time, you know, hey, most of the people around me are wealthy people, or the other people that close up are people I'm mentoring, and they're getting things. They're seeing shifts in their lives. And so I'm excited about that. And so you're going to have to, you know, everything will come into your life. Oh, thank you, Lord, for remembering. Let me share what happened to me. Because I knew that I'm called. See, you got to know your own calling. So don't try to be what I'm called to do. I'm going to share this just for a testimony. I know that I'm called to own shopping centers. I'm called to own malls. I'm called to own office buildings. I'm called to own property. I remember it's been a little over about a year and a half now, maybe going into, about 2 years now. I was in my girlfriend boutique, and I said, you know, I am going to go home. I'm getting ready to lock myself up for about 3 or 4 months. Don't bother me. I'm okay. You okay. But somebody is going to mentor me and show me how to buy shopping centers and office buildings. So I'm not coming out of my prayer room. I'm not coming out. I'm going to shut everything down until I connect with my counterparts. I've never seen anybody in my entire life that own shopping centers, nobody in my equation, office buildings, those huge office buildings. Nobody in my entire life till I made a decision that day. And I went home, and 5 days later, I'm from Texas. I was scheduled to speak at a prayer conference in Oklahoma. 5 days later, I met the man at the conference. So he became my wealth coach. Guess what? By that time, because I had done what I had done, my income had increased. I wrote the book telling people how to do it, called Pray and Grow Richer. And I walked into that conference with that book. That man was sitting there. He had, at that time, I think he owned like 40 office buildings. I'm talking about huge. He owned shopping centers. Is this not exactly what I said? That's what he owned. And then he owned them. They were not where he owed the bank. He was completely debt-free on all of the property. And that man, I walked in there with that book, and he sold into my life that day and became my wealth coach and covenanted with me. The reason he covenanted with me is because of my book even the more. He said to me, I was supposed to write a book years ago called Pray and Grow Rich. And you walked in here with a book called Pray and Grow Richer. I knew then that I was going to connect with you. That man took me in 10 months. I need you to hear me. See, that's why I'm saying you got to start what I'm saying. You got to operate in the principles that I'm telling you, and you attract everything you need into your life. You attract the resource people. You attract whatever service you need, whatever training you need, whatever. It will come into your life if you will practice the principles of rich people. So the bottom line is, guess what? He came into my life, covenanted with me. I told him, because let me just help you out. I've heard a lot of people say they got this and that. So I told him that I am going to come to your city, and I am going to make sure you got what you got. That's pretty much what I told him on the phone, because I've heard enough people say a lot of stuff. So I said, I'm going to make sure that you got what you say you got. So the bottom line is, I went there and I saw what he had, and he took us around on a bus, and he let me see what he had. I want you to know, before I left his church or his community, what all that he was doing, that man immediately sold $10,000 into my life. He said, I heard that I needed to shift you to your next level. And he sold $10,000 into my life. And so I want you to know, from that point on, he took me in 10 months to where I was sowing hundreds of dollars into a donation given at a time that I was able to sow $20,000 one time. And then I've sold 5,000 and thousands of dollars away. I sold thousands into meetings, helping people out. So you know, you got to associate with wealthy people. You got to start a business. You got to now. You got to become kingdompreneurs. Bottom line, you got to maximize your passion. You'll never be rich working for somebody else. You've got to start a business. And then you got to sow. Like I said, when I got the money, I began to sow. So the seed would bring forth a harvest. You got to sow up. I didn't keep sowing the $100. I sowed thousands. It's that God will give seed to the sower. So many of us, when we get it, see, I recognize that God gave it to me so I can help His kingdom, help people. So now I'm helping people. I'm reaching back. I'm helping people. I'm doing a 90-day financial empowerment challenge. You might say, well, Dr. Clark, I do need your help. Well, go to my website, drshirleyclark.org, and sign up. Just say, I'm interested. Contact me. Say, I want to sign up for your free 90-day financial empowerment challenge. I take people through. I help people find their wealth streams. And see, what we do is tell people, what I want to do is open up a stream of vortex over your life. Don't try to figure out how it's going to happen. I just show you how it happened, put you in a place where to open up the wealth to flow over your life. We got hundreds of people have gone through my 90-day financial empowerment challenge. And I'm telling you, one of the greatest testimonies I heard one night, there's so many people have got debt cancellation on $12,000 letters in the mail when they're just going through the program. They've canceled $12,000 debt from college. They just get a letter. She said, I didn't apply for it because we started doing what wealthy people. I show them in 90 days. People have gotten cars, written books. We can go on and on and on. I need you to know that I want to be your advocate. Go to my website. Say, Dr. Clark, I really want to know more about it. Want to sign up for your next. I'm taking a group through. It's a certification program. Right now, it's free. But starting next year, it will not be free. Because I want more people on this stage. I found out I did not have Shirley Clark when I went through this. And I want more people on this. I want people on the stage with me. I'm not a refrigerator. I decided I wanted people on the stage with me, not just me on the stage. And so I take people through this 90-day challenge. We open up a vortex. One girl got out of debt in the first 30 days, and then right after that, another 30 days, had $3,000 in the bank. But one of the greatest testimonies I've heard, I made her the director of my school, is that she did everything I told her to, read all the books and things. We coach every week on the phone. But she said, I did everything that Dr. Clark told me to do. Then I read all the other books in the books that she lists. See, sometimes some people just want to get away. You just do just enough. But she took it to the next level. She read everything that I recommended, every book. And guess what? She got a house with no money down, a car with no money down, and a check for $7,000, $3,000, $4,000, paid cash for everything in the house. Hey, I hope I got your attention. I want to be your advocate. Write me. Go to my website. Contact me and say, I'm interested in joining your 90-day financial empowerment challenge. And next, we got a 90-day. We're getting ready to do the Pray and Go Richer retreat. And if you go to my website, you'll see that. Listen, we've got some great people. In that retreat, we're going to do these soaking. We're going to show you how to produce your wealth. We're going to take you through where you'll hear things. And we're going to show you how to maximize what you're hearing. We're going to help you brand yourself during that weekend. Many of you don't know how to do product development. Listen, we are the product development. I feel like the queen. My marketing director, listen, made $20,000 on Instagram. Hey, you got to know how to get the money. You got to know how to work your stuff. And so we're going to teach you in that retreat. This is a mastermind retreat. And so we're bringing in some of the top leaders to help us out that weekend. We're looking at one of the Get Motivated speakers, America's #1 confidence coach, Dr. Keith Johnson. He's probably been on Fox and ABC. We're all best-selling authors, some are Amazon best-selling authors. We're going to lock you up and teach you how to hear your wealthy streams. And then we're going to help you birth it out And then we've got now, just go to the website. We've got a Millionaire Intensive Program. And that's when we're going to really roll out the red carpet for you. This is your time for change. And I want you to know we got so much for you because I help authors and speakers. We got speakers bureaus. We've got, right now, we started our author tour. Go to my website. Go even to Jabez Books, Jabez and books.com. I've got a tour going on for author because now I've got all these millionaires in my life. I got 10 or more million. Now I got about 15 multimillionaires. 10 of them, but now about 15 traveling with me. And I'm only putting the millionaires on the stage. I decided this year I'm going to take it up a notch. I'm not even letting nobody on my stage unless they're millionaires. And so I'm helping authors now build their resumes up. And so we got an author tour that we can help you get on that tour. And then we've got a book deals. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I decided I'm going to help people after 15 years. We've got a book deal that's $10,000, and we're giving it up for $1,500. So listen, go to my website. I'm so glad you joined me for this webinar. The Power Networking Conference is an incredible tool that God has been using through Dr. George Frazier, and I back him up 100% for what he's doing to empower people's lives. Listen, we are about change and not you being stuck in your rut. If you're stuck in your rut, it's because you want to, because Dr. George Frazier have set this in place for you to change, to control you, to be empowered to do great things in this hour. Please join, check out my website. All I can say, we're here to bless your life, and your life will change.